Today lesson: if you know these English words, your English is excellent. English Learning Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the show. I'm James.
And I'm Olivia. And today, we've got an episode that I am genuinely excited about, because it's one of those episodes where, if you're listening carefully, you're going to walk away feeling really, really good about your English.
That's right. Today's episode is called, If You Know These English Words, Your English is Excellent. And the idea is simple. There are certain words in English, not necessarily rare words, not academic, complicated words, but words that a lot of learners simply never reach. They are the kind of words that native speakers use all the time, comfortably, without even thinking about it. And if you already know them, if you can already use them in a sentence without hesitating, that tells us something important about your level.
It tells us you're not a beginner anymore. You're not even really an intermediate learner. You're operating in that upper intermediate to advanced space, where you're not just translating from your first language, you're actually thinking in English, at least some of the time.
Exactly. So here's how today is going to work. We're going to go through a list of words and expressions, organized loosely by theme, feelings and reactions, describing people, talking about problems, giving opinions, and a few little connector words that glue sentences together. For each one, we'll give you the definition, we'll use it in a few natural example sentences, and Olivia and I will actually have a little conversation using the word, so you can hear it in context, the way a real conversation would sound.
And a quick note before we dive in, if you recognize a word we mentioned today and you think, oh, I use that all the time, don't just nod along. Actually notice that feeling. That's the whole point of this episode. We want you to recognize your own progress.
Yes. So many learners are incredibly hard on themselves. They focus on the words they don't know, the mistakes they make, the grammar rules they mix up. But learning a language is also about noticing what you've already achieved.
Absolutely. So today is a little bit of a celebration, wrapped inside a vocabulary lesson.
I like that. A celebration wrapped inside a vocabulary lesson. Let's get into it.
Let's start with feelings, because this is where a lot of learners get stuck at a very basic level. They know happy, sad, angry, tired. Totally normal words, nothing wrong with them. But if you know the words we're about to share, it shows you can express something more specific, more nuanced.
Right, and nuance is really the theme of this whole section. Our first word is overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. This means you have so much to deal with, so many tasks, so much information, so many emotions, that you feel like you can't cope with it all. It's stronger than busy, and it carries an emotional weight that stressed doesn't quite capture either.
Let me give an example. I know it's only Tuesday, but I already feel completely overwhelmed by this week.
Or, after the move, the paperwork was overwhelming, forms, addresses, bank details, everything at once.
Let's do a little exchange with this one.
Okay. James, how's your week going?
Honestly, I'm a bit overwhelmed. Between the new project at work and getting ready for my sister's wedding, I feel like I haven't had a single free evening.
That sounds like a lot. Have you told your manager you're overwhelmed, or are you just quietly suffering?
Laughs, a bit of both, if I'm honest.
See how naturally that word slots into a normal conversation? If you can use overwhelmed the way James just did, casually, without stopping to think about the grammar, that's a great sign.
Our next word is relieved.
Relieved is that feeling of relaxation and comfort you get after something stressful or worrying finally ends, or turns out okay.
For example, I was so relieved when I heard the test results were normal.
Or, she was relieved to find her passport was just in her other bag, not lost after all.
Let's try a mini dialogue.
James, did you hear back about the flight? I know you were worried it got cancelled.
Yes. I just got the email. It's still on schedule. Honestly, I'm so relieved, I was picturing myself stuck at the airport for hours.
That's a relief for me too, actually, since I was the one who was going to have to pick you up at midnight.
Laughs, fair point. Notice Olivia used the noun form there, a relief, instead of the adjective, relieved. That flexibility, moving between the noun and the adjective, is another sign of a strong vocabulary.
Good catch. Let's move to another one, frustrated.
Frustrated is that feeling of annoyance and impatience when something isn't working the way you want, especially when you feel a bit powerless to fix it.
I got so frustrated trying to fix the printer that I nearly threw it out the window.
He's frustrated with his internet connection, it keeps dropping in the middle of his calls.
Let's hear it in conversation.
You look a little tense. Everything okay?
Not really. I'm frustrated with this software update. It keeps crashing every time I try to save my work.
That would frustrate anyone. Have you tried restarting it?
3 times. I'm about to give up and just write everything by hand.
Notice how frustrate can also work as a verb that would frustrate anyone, not just an adjective. Knowing both forms gives you a lot more flexibility.
Next word, grateful.
Grateful means you feel thankful, and you want to express that appreciation, often for something someone did for you, or for something good that happened in your life.
I'm really grateful for all the support you gave me during that difficult time.
We're grateful the weather held up for the wedding, it could have easily rained.
Little dialogue?
I heard you helped Maria move apartments last weekend.
I did. It was exhausting, but she was so grateful, she made us all dinner afterward as a thank you.
That's really kind of her. It's nice when people show they're grateful, not just say it.
Exactly, and that's a nice little collocation too, show gratitude versus just saying the word.
Let's do one more in this section, exhausted.
Exhausted is stronger than tired. It means completely drained of energy, physically or mentally, or both.
By the time we finished the hike, we were absolutely exhausted.
She came home from the 12-hour shift completely exhausted and fell asleep on the sofa.
Conversation time.
You look exhausted. Did you sleep at all last night?
Barely. The baby was up every 2 hours. I'm running on fumes.
Running on fumes, nice bonus expression there, James. That means you're operating with almost no energy left, like a car almost out of fuel.
Exactly. If you understood that idiom without needing a translation, add another point to your excellent English scoreboard.
Let's move to a new category, describing people's personalities and character. This is such a useful area, because in daily life, so much of what we talk about is other people, friends, coworkers, family, even strangers we just met.
Our first word here is reliable.
Reliable describes someone you can trust to do what they say they'll do, consistently, again and again.
She's incredibly reliable. If she says she'll finish the report by Friday, it'll be done by Friday.
We need a reliable babysitter, someone who actually shows up on time.
Dialogue?
Who do you want on the project team?
Honestly, put me with Daniel. He's not the flashiest, but he's incredibly reliable. He never misses a deadline.
That's exactly the kind of person you want when the stakes are high.
Next, considerate.
Considerate means thinking about other people's feelings and needs, and acting kindly because of that awareness.
It was really considerate of you to save me a seat.
He's such a considerate host, he always checks if guests have any dietary restrictions before cooking.
Little exchange.
Did you notice Priya turned her phone off during the whole dinner?
I did, actually. That was really considerate of her, especially since we were talking about something sensitive.
It made a real difference. It felt like she was actually present with us.
Beautiful. Next word, stubborn.
Stubborn describes someone who refuses to change their mind or their behavior, even when it might be reasonable to do so.
My grandfather is so stubborn, he still refuses to use a smartphone.
She can be a bit stubborn when it comes to admitting she's wrong.
Dialogue.
Did you manage to convince your dad to see a doctor?
No luck. He's incredibly stubborn about anything health-related. He just says he's fine and changes the subject.
That stubbornness runs in families sometimes, doesn't it?
Laughs, don't look at me.
Next, easygoing.
Easygoing describes someone relaxed, calm, and not easily upset or stressed. Someone who goes with the flow.
My roommate is really easygoing, nothing ever seems to bother her.
We're pretty easygoing about plans, we'll figure it out when we get there.
Conversation?
What's your new manager like?
Surprisingly easygoing, actually. I expected someone strict, but she's really relaxed about how we organize our own schedules.
That's a nice surprise. Easygoing managers are rare.
Let's finish this section with assertive.
Assertive means confidently expressing your opinions or needs, in a direct but respectful way, not aggressive, but not passive either.
You need to be more assertive in meetings if you want your ideas to be heard.
She handled the complaint assertively, without being rude to the customer.
Dialogue time.
How did the negotiation go?
Better than expected. I was really assertive about our price, and they respected that instead of trying to push me around.
That's the balance, isn't it? Assertive, not aggressive.
Exactly the line to walk.
Alright, let's shift gears again. Every conversation, at some point, ends up talking about a problem, something that went wrong, something difficult, something we're trying to solve.
And this is another area where learners often get stuck using only very basic words like problem and difficult over and over again. So let's fix that. First word, setback.
A setback is something that happens which delays or reverses your progress, a temporary problem that pushes you backward.
Losing our main investor was a huge setback for the company.
It's just a small setback. We'll adjust the timeline and keep going.
Conversation.
How's the renovation going?
We hit a bit of a setback. The contractor found some water damage behind the wall, so now we have to deal with that before anything else can continue.
That's frustrating, but at least you found it now rather than later.
True, silver lining, I suppose.
Nice, silver lining, a positive side to a bad situation. Another bonus expression for the list.
Next word, overcome.
To overcome something means to successfully deal with a problem or difficulty, especially after real effort or struggle.
It took years, but she finally overcame her fear of flying.
The team overcame a lot of obstacles to finish the project on time.
Dialogue.
I heard you finally gave that public speech you were dreading.
I did. I was terrified beforehand, but somehow I overcame the nerves and it actually went really well.
That's a huge achievement. Public speaking anxiety isn't easy to overcome.
Next, manageable.
Manageable describes something that is difficult, but still possible to deal with or control, not overwhelming.
The workload is heavy this week, but it's manageable.
Once we broke the project into smaller steps, it felt much more manageable.
Conversation.
Are you drowning in wedding planning yet?
A little, but honestly, once we made a checklist, it became a lot more manageable. We just tackle one thing at a time.
Smart approach. Big problems always feel more manageable in smaller pieces.
Next, tackle.
To tackle a problem means to deal with it directly and actively, often with determination.
We need to tackle this issue before it gets any worse.
She decided to tackle her debt by creating a strict monthly budget.
Dialogue.
So what's your plan for tackling the backlog of emails?
I'm setting aside an hour every morning specifically to tackle them, instead of letting them pile up all day.
That's a solid strategy. I might steal that one.
Last word in this section, daunting.
Daunting describes something that seems difficult and intimidating, often making you feel nervous before you even start.
Moving to a new country alone felt daunting at first.
The exam looked daunting, but once I started, it wasn't as bad as I expected.
Conversation.
How do you feel about starting the new job on Monday?
A little daunted, honestly. New team, new systems, new everything. But I think once I get through the first week, it'll feel more normal.
That's completely natural. Everything feels daunting right before you begin.
Let's talk about opinions now, because expressing a nuanced opinion, not just I like it or I don't like it, is such a clear sign of fluency.
First word, skeptical.
Skeptical means having doubts about whether something is true, effective, or a good idea.
I'm a bit skeptical about this new diet trend everyone's talking about.
He remains skeptical of the salesperson's promises.
Dialogue.
Are you going to try that new productivity app everyone's raving about?
I'm skeptical, to be honest. I've tried so many apps before and none of them actually changed my habits.
Fair enough. Healthy skepticism, I'd call that.
Next, convinced.
Convinced means you fully believe something is true, usually because of evidence or a strong argument.
After reading the reviews, I was convinced this was the right laptop for me.
She's convinced that remote work makes people more productive.
Conversation.
Do you think the meeting could have been an email?
Honestly, I'm convinced most meetings could be emails.
Laughs, I don't think anyone's going to argue with you on that one.
Next, reasonable.
Reasonable describes an opinion, request, or decision that is fair, sensible, and based on logic rather than emotion.
I think that's a reasonable price for the amount of work involved.
It's reasonable to expect a reply within a couple of days.
Dialogue.
Do you think it's fair that they're asking for a deposit before starting to work?
Actually, yes, I think that's pretty reasonable. It protects them if the client changes their mind halfway through.
That's a good point, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Next, debatable.
Debatable describes something that isn't clearly true or false. There are good arguments on both sides, so people disagree.
Whether remote work is more productive than office work is still debatable.
It's debatable whether the movie was better than the book.
Conversation.
Was that really the best restaurant in the city, though?
I mean, that's debatable. It's great, but I've had better pasta elsewhere.
Fair, fair. Everyone's got their own ranking.
Last word for this section, biased.
Biased means having an unfair preference for or against something, often without realizing it, or without a fully objective reason.
I might be a little biased since I grew up there, but I think it's the best city in the country.
The article seemed pretty biased toward one political party.
Dialogue.
Which coffee shop do you think has the best pastries?
Definitely the one near my apartment, though I admit I'm biased since I go there almost every day.
Noted. I'll take your recommendation with a grain of salt.
Another lovely idiom, take something with a grain of salt, meaning you shouldn't fully believe it, you should stay a little doubtful.
Okay, now for one of my favorite categories, small connector words and phrases. These aren't necessarily advanced vocabulary in the traditional sense, but they're words that native speakers use constantly to link ideas smoothly. If you use these naturally, your English sounds far more fluent, even if the rest of your vocabulary is fairly simple.
First one, on top of that.
This means in addition to that, usually used when adding another problem or another point to something already mentioned, often something negative.
The flight was delayed for 3 hours, and on top of that, they lost my luggage.
Dialogue?
How was your commute this morning?
Awful. The train was cancelled, so I had to take the bus, and on top of that, it started raining right as I got to the stop.
That's rough. Sounds like one of those mornings.
Next phrase, as a matter of fact.
This phrase is used when you're about to give a fact or detail that supports or slightly contrasts with what was just said, often with a hint of surprise.
I thought you didn't like sushi. As a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite foods now.
Let's hear it.
You don't seem like someone who enjoys hiking.
As a matter of fact, I go almost every weekend. You just haven't seen that side of me yet.
Well, now I'm curious to join you sometime.
Next connector, that being said.
This is used to introduce a contrasting point right after making a statement, similar to however, but a bit more conversational.
The restaurant was quite expensive. That being said, the food was absolutely worth it.
Conversation.
So the new policy sounds pretty strict.
It is. That being said, I think it's necessary given everything that's happened recently.
That's a fair way to look at it.
Next, as far as I know.
This phrase is used to share information while admitting you might not have complete or fully updated knowledge.
As far as I know, the meeting is still happening at 3, but you might want to double check.
Dialogue.
Is the store still open on Sundays?
As far as I know, yes, but they changed their hours a while back, so it's worth checking their website.
Good call, I'll do that.
Last connector, come to think of it.
This phrase is used when a new thought or memory suddenly occurs to you while you're speaking, connected to something just said.
Come to think of it, I haven't heard from her in weeks.
Conversation.
Have you tried that new Italian place downtown?
Come to think of it, I walked past it last week and completely forgot to go in. We should go this weekend.
Deal. Let's actually put it in the calendar this time. Alright, we're going to do something a little different now. Olivia and I are going to go through a quick-fire round, shorter words, quicker definitions, one example each, just to pack in a few more before we wrap up.
Love this idea. I'll start. Genuine, real, sincere, not fake. She gave a genuine apology, and you could tell she really meant it.
Thorough, done carefully and completely, leaving nothing out. He did a thorough review of the contract before signing.
Insight, a clear, deep understanding of something. Her presentation gave us real insight into how customers actually think.
Approachable, easy to talk to, friendly, not intimidating. The new professor is really approachable, students feel comfortable asking questions.
Versatile, able to adapt to many different uses or situations. This jacket is so versatile, I can wear it hiking or to a dinner out.
Straightforward, simple, clear, easy to understand, without complications. The instructions were straightforward, so setup only took a few minutes.
Legitimate, real, valid, acceptable according to the rules or law. He had a legitimate reason for being late, his car broke down.
Inevitable, certain to happen, impossible to avoid. With that much rain, flooding in the lower streets was pretty much inevitable.
Compromise, an agreement where both sides give up a little to meet in the middle. We couldn't agree on a restaurant, so we compromised and ordered delivery instead.
Underestimate, to think something is smaller, easier, or less important than it actually is. Don't underestimate how tired you'll be after the time change.
Great round. If a good number of those felt completely familiar to you, that's a really strong sign.
So, let's bring it all together. Today we went through words for feelings: overwhelmed, relieved, frustrated, grateful, exhausted. Words for describing people: reliable, considerate, stubborn, easygoing, assertive. Words for problems: setback, overcome, manageable, tackle, daunting. Words for opinions: skeptical, convinced, reasonable, debatable, biased. Connector phrases: on top of that, as a matter of fact, that being said, as far as I know, come to think of it. And then our quick-fire round with 10 more.
That's a lot of vocabulary for one episode, but here's the thing, you don't need to memorize this list like a set of flashcards. What we really want is for you to notice, how many of these did you already know? How many did you recognize instantly, without translating in your head?
Because that's the real measure here. Fluency isn't about knowing every single word in the dictionary. It's about being comfortable, confident, and quick with the words that actually come up in real conversations, again and again.
And if today's episode made you think, oh, I use half of these already, then take a moment and actually give yourself credit for that. So many learners downplay their own progress. You've clearly put in real work to get here.
And if there were words today that were new to you, don't worry either. That's completely normal, and honestly, that's exactly why you're listening to this podcast, to keep filling in those gaps, one episode at a time.
So here's a little homework, if you want it. Pick 3 words from today's episode, ones that felt useful, or ones you want to remember, and try to use each of them at least once this week, whether that's in conversation, in writing, or even just talking to yourself while you're making coffee.
Laughs, no judgment here if you talk to yourself. We fully support it.
Absolutely. Using new words out loud, even alone, really helps them stick.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, as always.
If you enjoyed this one, share it with a friend who's also learning English. It might be exactly the encouragement they need today.
And we'll see you next time, right here on the podcast.
Take care, and keep going. You're doing better than you think.
Bye everyone.
Bye.